Hi, I'm Ann Weiser Cornell, and this is our weekly Support for Stressful Times webinar. We are in stressful times. That's my sense of it. I bet you agree with me. And I love it that we can share some mutual contact and support that gives us some help in these stressful times. And I like to start with my number one tip, and let's all do this together right now, and that is pause. Yesterday, something happened that kind of made me a bit freaked out. And for a little while, I didn't remember to pause. Instead, I just felt agitated, anxious, nervous. And then I remembered, what about pausing? And there's this little moment right there when something, a little voice in me says, oh, that won't do any good. Or, you know what? Pausing often has an impact whether you believe it's going to or not. So here we are, we're pausing together right now. And often when I pause, my body remembers to take a deeper breath. That happens just kind of spontaneously. Oh yeah. And I begin to feel that I'm supported by what I'm sitting on. I begin to rest into the support that's here underneath me. Nice. Yeah. Do you find you're doing that? So that's step one. And you always have time, because pausing takes really a second or two. Even in the middle of a conversation, you can either say out loud, you know, I need a minute to take in what you're saying right now. Or just a minute, please. Or you can do it even without saying anything. Just give a really long pause. There you go, see? Nice. All right. So, and then after that, it's really nice to sense how you are. How are you? And the body is such a gift. Our bodies are totally on our side. You know, there's a funny thing that happens when people experience pain and discomfort in the body, sometimes even chronic pain. We start to get the idea that the body is against us, that it's the body that's hurting us. Did you ever have that thought? I see it another way. For me, the body is a fellow sufferer. If you're hurting, your body's hurting, the two of you are in it together. Your body is your ally. Your body is you. So your body is never your enemy. So when we bring awareness to our bodies and feel, how am I feeling in my throat? How am I feeling in my chest? My chest is pretty clear right now. How am I feeling down here in stomach, belly area? Doing pretty good, actually. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. But it's like a checking in. Right? How am I here? And some of you are probably finding tension, tightness, agitation, anxiety. But all of that is still on your side. Bringing you messages about what's true for you, what's going on. You probably heard stories about people who are unable to feel pain, right? They have some kind of condition where they don't feel pain at all, ever, even when they're injured. Life is very hard for people like that. We need our signals about what's going on. And if you're like me, it's possible to go around for a long time and not notice that somebody inside is saying, hello, I need your attention. No, I don't have time to listen. I've got something I have to do. So that's what happens when we pause. We also are saying we're available to sense what is here that needs some attention. And let's say that in your body you feel tension, tightness, heaviness, discomfort, even pain. How do you react? What if the way you react is to say, hello, I sense that you feel that way. So a kind of acknowledging of what you're finding. Yeah, and acknowledging. Karen says she recognizes the condition I'm talking about from an episode of House. That's probably where I heard of it too. Ah, that's great. Yeah, yeah, very nice. So what are you noticing? Is there something here that's challenging to acknowledge and say hello to? You could bring it up. You could let me help you with it. Yeah. Karen is also writing, yesterday I was over anxious because we were waiting for a very important decision. Yeah, that's a good reason. And I felt I lost all ability to find calm in myself. You know, that can happen. Yeah. And this helps too. Very nice. Yeah. Very nice. So we're pausing to sense how we are. And then when you find something that's a signal from inside, discomfort, uneasiness, there's so much going on in the world these days that scares parts of me. Let's talk about this idea of parts of me. So there's such a nice difference between I'm scared and something in me is scared. And by saying something in me is scared, we're not meaning to push away the scared feeling. We're not meaning to belittle it. But what we're doing by changing our language is we're creating an inner relationship. And so many good things happen in relationship. Relationships can be challenging too, but I'm talking about the potential, the possibility. If you can have a compassionate, caring relationship within yourself, the possibilities are so huge for self-care and for discovery and for grounded action. So let me show you again what I'm talking about. And that is, take a sentence like, I am scared, I'm anxious, I'm nervous, I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm irritated, right? Just a short 3-word sentence like that. So something that you feel right now or something you often feel, and say it in the present tense. I am da-da-da. Yeah? So I'm going to take I'm scared because that was a recent one for me. I am scared. Just say your 3-word sentence and see how it feels. And now, change the sentence to something in me is. And say those 2 sentences. I am, something in me is. Mine is, I am scared, something in me is scared. I am scared, something in me is scared. Notice what happens. And what happens for me is, I feel like I'm turning inward and I'm getting curious about the something in me that's scared. I feel I am better able to be a listener and give caring attention to the something in me that's scared. What happened for you? And Judy writes, when I say something in me, I feel more capable to handle it. Wonderful. Great. Great. Yeah. So Steph wrote a little earlier, I'm worried my husband will have to go back to work as a teacher in September. Yeah, I can see why that would be very worrisome. And maybe all of you is worried. But what happens if you say, something in me is worried, and I'm going to pay attention to that, take that seriously, listen to it, listen to my own feeling of worry. You are your first listener. And everything inside us, especially our emotional states, are longing to be heard. Nobody ever, this is my opinion, nobody ever gets enough listening. We're empathy deprived. And the good news is we can be the first person to give empathy to ourselves. And then, it's actually more easy to find it from other people too. Yeah. So, oh yeah. So describing what happened when we switched the first sentence to the second sentence, somebody wrote, it gets smaller. And so Georgiana writes, I'm worried about my health. Okay. And what happens, Georgiana, when you say, something in me is worried about my health? Well, Steph tried it on what we did earlier, and reports that it got less heavy. Yeah, there you go. You know what I love about this method, something in me, as a way of acknowledging how we feel, is that we are not in any way pushing our feelings away. We're not disrespecting our feelings. We're not arguing with our feelings. We're not evaluating whether that's a good way to feel or not. I really don't think those things work very well, right? Do you ever feel like I can't stand this feeling? I am trying to push it away. I'm trying to talk myself out of it. I'm trying to get it to stop feeling that way. We don't want to be at odds with ourselves. I don't want to be at odds with myself where my own feelings are being told they're not legitimate. They're being told to go away. Let's not do that. I think many of us have had that happen to us too much already. Often in childhood, kids are told that their feelings aren't valuable, legitimate, important. Let's not keep doing that to ourselves. What if we take our own feelings seriously? But also, we don't have to be taken over by them. This is so cool. I just think this is super cool that I can have my feelings and I can be here. I don't have to be swept away, taken over by my feelings. So let's see what people are writing here. Okay, a question from Mary Lynn. How do I know whether a pain is the body speaking in the present moment about something that needs attention, and when it gets attention, the pain will release, or whether it's something that needs medical attention? Well, it's important to be aware that it could be either. And in my description of the question, I've sort of implied the answer, which is, say, I sense you, I know you're there, I'm listening, and see whether there's a sense of some release. I remember working with a woman who said, I have this pain in my heart and I'm not even sure if it's a medical condition that I ought to see my doctor about. And of course, my first response is, well, if you're not sure, why not see your doctor, just to be sure? And then she said, well, I said hello to it and it moved up to my throat. So, okay, now we know. And by the end of a focusing session, it was gone. But do listen to how it is. Yeah, very nice. Dinah's talking about worries about the election, and something in me doesn't seem to help. Well, I want to make it clear that the purpose of speaking to ourselves this way is not to make our feelings vanish. Our feelings may be telling us about something that needs action, that needs attention, that needs us to join with others, to step up, to make a difference. And in many cases, when there's something in the outer world that's scaring us, it's finding an action we can take that will be what makes, that helps us feel at least a bit calmer about what's going on. Your body is signaling you that something is seriously wrong. You don't want to make the signal go away when things are still seriously wrong. Do you see what I'm saying? So we're not just soothing our feelings. If our feelings are telling us about something that needs attention, either in that big political world where we can do some things that make a difference, get 100 other people to tell you they're going to vote. It was something I heard recently. There's many, many organizations helping get out the vote. We don't want to just make our feelings go away, whether they're about something in that big political arena or whether they're about something in our family or our more personal but important world that may need an action. It may need me to talk to that person. It may need me to set a boundary. And that may be what it's talking to me about. And so on. Yeah. Eve writes, I can't go to the doctor every time I have that pain. I have it every day. So you did go to the doctor once though, right? I don't think you have to go every time. Yeah. And Haja says, it's feeling panicky, and then the words no wonder come. Oh, let's talk. Thank you, Haja. Let's tell people about the phrase no wonder. So the feeling inside of this that's going on feels scary in here. You say, what happens after you say something in me? Well, here's what's next. I'm letting it know I hear it. I'm letting it know it makes sense to be scared about that. You see, the way that I'm not recommending is to try to talk ourselves out of our feelings. Don't be scared. It's not so bad. I think if you're like me, your feelings get more tense when somebody says, don't feel that way. I do appreciate a hug from my sweetie. That does help me. But from inside myself, if I try to say, don't worry, the feelings feel like they haven't gotten through to me. But if I say, yeah, I really hear that's what's so scary. No wonder. So if I say to my own feelings, no wonder, there's this empathy at a deeper level. I've validated that concern. No wonder you'd feel that way. And there's a step in there of empathy. Let's talk about deep empathy for a moment. There's a step of empathy where you're listening to the below the surface, okay? So what you already think about what's causing your feelings is very probably not the whole story. So I bet there's of the people on this call who are my fellow Americans, I bet a number of us are worried about the political situation in our country. But for each of us, we have a unique take on that, like what it is about that, what it is about me that makes me especially worried about that. And we don't ask that question in order to make the feeling go away. But when we connect to our own unique story about what's going on, it empowers us. It gives us a feeling of, I am here. So the question again is, I'm in touch with the scared, anxious, worried, overwhelmed feeling about the political situation. Or maybe it's the virus situation, or maybe it's something else. It feels like everybody must feel the same way because we're all facing a similar challenge. But actually, for each person, we have a unique take on it, a unique angle, our own life history, our own goals, our own hopes and dreams. So we pause a moment and we say, and what is it about me that makes that matter in this way to me right now? And do you see how that's kind of a deeper empathy? Not just, I hear you're scared, but also, they're scared. I'm hearing that this scared has to do with, let's say, powerlessness. Let's say how hard it is, especially for me, to feel powerless because of my life history. And I hear that. I really hear that. And I say, No wonder. I say to myself, oh, no wonder. It's very validating, very accepting, and it is more likely, if action is needed, being clear about your feelings is more likely to empower you to act as well. Yes, yes. So let's see what people are saying here. Yes. Uh-huh. William says there's a wanting to cry out, and should I cry out? I don't know. That's up to you. See what feels right. Ah, I'm so glad, Amy, that saying no wonder has been helpful to you. Yes. And that difference between what we can control and what we can't, the brilliance of the serenity prayer from the 12-step program is something I lean on, right? Let me have the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, the wisdom to know the difference. And I'm just not sure I like that word accept very much. But I'd say acknowledge the things I can't change and acknowledge the feelings about them. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So Arno asks, is it better to listen to the somethings that produce the responses rather than try to respond to them? Well, I'm not sure what you mean by responding to them rather than try to make them produce a certain response. Maybe you could give an example. But I do want to say this, that what I think is most empowering to ourselves, most validating, most encouraging, accepting, what helps our emotional states move instead of stay stuck, is when we say to ourselves, I hear you and I am here listening, please tell me more. So we, toward our own emotional states, we are in a listening mode. And there's dozens of things that are not that. Oh, let's think of something more cheerful, or try to feel differently, or it's not so bad, right? I would categorize all of those as trying to change our feelings. And I believe that when we try to change our feelings, we've gotten identified with another part of us. And we're no longer that large accepting presence that we create by saying, I hear you, I'm here, and no wonder you feel that way. And tell me more, I am listening. Yeah, very nice. Dinah asked, how come I don't like the word accept? No, it doesn't feel so much like a dismissal, but it feels like giving up. I know the word accept has many meanings, and I respect that for some people it works. But I see emotional states as always in motion. And so and I also think that the world outside us is always in motion. And that if the world looks like there's no hope, I think that's the view of a despairing part of us. I say hello to something in me that has no hope. I'm not saying I know there's hope, but I have an open curiosity, and I worry that the word accept doesn't take us there. So, yeah, Georgiana reminds us that a lot of times it's harder to feel empathy for ourselves than for other people. And isn't that great that together here, we're practicing empathy for ourselves? We're recognizing how important it is. And then in a pause, I'm coming back to what we said at the very start of our webinar, when you pause, you're taking the first step toward giving yourself caring, compassion, and empathy. Pausing is already that first step toward self-caring, self-compassion, and empathy. And the more you do it, the more pausing gives you that feeling of, oh, I'm pausing to be friendly to myself, to befriend myself, to say, hello, I hear you, to what's going on inside me. So beautiful. Yeah, very nice. Oh, I hear what you're saying, Arno. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you, Christina. Christina is understanding, agreeing, or at least Christina and I share this view of acknowledge rather than accept, and the seriousness of climate change, and that we're not going to give up. Yes, yes, yes. Emotions are always in motion. Every emotion that you have is on its way to something else. And if it seems like that's not true, like you may have felt angry for years, or sad for years, or scared for years, or it might seem that way. Maybe that's because there, I don't want to say there hasn't been enough of something, but could you now turn toward that emotional state felt freshly now? Not in the way I assume it's still here because it's always here, but just sense it freshly as if you'd never felt it before. Describe it freshly. Is it anger? Or is it heat and clenching? And then say, I get it, I hear. And with no intention to make it change. We don't have an agenda to make our emotions change because we don't have to. They change. They change. Yeah. We'll feel it freshly. Freshly is one of my favorite words. Yes. Very nice. Wow. Can you believe a half an hour has gone by? It is such fun to be with you. Sometimes I feel like I'm saying the same things, but I also feel like it comes freshly and that you are here listening. And it's been so lovely to share this time with you. Wonderful. I just wanted to say before we go, I do have a course starting in a few weeks, in about 8 days. And for those of you who want to have more interaction with me and to have a way to speak and talk to me and share out loud rather than just by chat, that's my course. It's called Navigating Loss and Change. Thank you so much, everybody. It's really lovely to be with you. Really nice. And if you were here for the first time, welcome. Do come back. All right, my dears. We'll say bye for now. Take care. Bye.